New today, the United States has a clear message for North Korea: we can nuke you. The Pentagon announcing today it flew a stealth bomber drill, dropping unarmed bombs over the Korean peninsula. This follows a similar drill earlier this week designed to show North Korea how quickly the United States can respond to any type of attack. It's the Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel's out front on this, too. He has just spoken. We're about to have that. First, though, this week North Korea announced it had put its rockets into strike position, and it came right out and warned that war could break out, quote, at any moment. Of course, the analysts say the North Koreans are unlikely to risk an actual attack, especially with the U.S. and South Korea conducting drills nearby. Still, North Korea has seriously upped the ante, cutting several critical military hotlines, threatening to nuke Washington, and tossing out its long-standing ceasefire with South Korea. Jennifer Griffin with new information for the Pentagon. Change in strategy here, or show of force? What is this?
Well, it's really interesting, Shep. I just came out of a briefing here at the Pentagon with Secretary of Defense Chuck Hagel and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Martin Dempsey, in which they talked about the developments on the Korean Peninsula. As you know, these are pictures that were taken from the ground of the two B-2 bombers that were sent from the United States to be part of those drills. They dropped, of course, the B-2 bomber is capable of carrying nuclear weapons. They dropped inert bombs off the coast of South Korea as part of these exercises that are taking place, military exercises. These are annual exercises between the U.S. and South Korea. The North Koreans have been seeing those exercises as provocative, have taken measures in recent days that have worried some at the Pentagon. And this is what we have from Defense Secretary Hagel just moments ago.
I think they're very provocative actions and belligerent tone. It has ratcheted up the danger, and we have to understand that reality.
So the Pentagon taking very seriously the threats, the rhetoric, the rising rhetoric and actions of Kim Jong-un, the young dictatorial leader of North Korea right now.
Hey, have they put a price tag on this, Jen?
The price tag for the B-2 flights, I asked Secretary Hagel and General Dempsey about that. They didn't know a number offhand, but remember, these two flights had to come from, they flew a continuous round-trip mission from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. That's 6,500 miles round-trip. We have some figures about how much it costs to run the B-2, and in essence, the operating cost for 1 hour per plane is $88,000 per plane. The mission lasted at least 30 hours. Two planes were used, so that, by our estimates, is at least $5.28 million. I asked whether they thought that that was an appropriate use of money given the current budget crisis that the Pentagon is facing. We were hearing from General Dempsey and Secretary Hagel about how they had essentially, it's only halfway through the budget year, and they've spent about 80% of the operating budget, and they are facing over $40 billion in cuts because of the sequestration. So they're trying to figure things out. But General Dempsey was clear that with a situation like North Korea, they've budgeted for B-2 flights, and they feel that at this time it's very important to still use them in a deterrent capacity. Shepard.
$5 million, but I guess they get a lot of frequent flyer miles out of the deal. So, Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. Thanks, Jen. Christian Whiten is with us, a former official with the State Department. $5 million for a flyover?
It's a lot of money. It's unusual, too. This comes just a little bit after Foal Eagle is what the military calls its annual military exercise between the U.S. and South Korea. That had concluded, so the fact that this was put on after that is an indication that U.S. commanders or their South Korean counterparts really do take this somewhat seriously.
There's a lot of noise here, but there's often a lot of noise. Is there more danger simply as a result of the noise, or how would you assess this, Christian?
Yeah, I continue to think that North Korea's primary threat is through proliferation, as far as in comparison to the other alternative, which is a direct nuclear strike on Japan, South Korea, the U.S. Now, North Korea has proven itself capable of picking fights. Just in 2010, they sank a South Korean naval ship and shelled a South Korean island, and literally paid just about no consequence for doing that. So,
yeah, I was going to ask you about the political will in South Korea. They seem to be telegraphing there that it wasn't very high.
Right, and this is there's a new government in South Korea, a woman named Park, the first woman president of that country, and so North Korea is probably testing her. It tested the previous government, same party. This is the center-right of South Korean politics, but not a very firm response. Really, no consequence at all. And this is a problem where democracies tend to be slow in rising to emerging threats, and dictatorships tend to underestimate the will of democracies ultimately to respond.
And one more thing. They've cut off all these communication channels the North Koreans have. Those channels are being used. You pick up that phone when something happened by mistake. Doesn't that make things a little more dangerous in the world?
It does. All of this creates the potential for a misunderstanding, that there may be a false signal that looks like North Korea really is starting a war, and an inability to get to the bottom of what really is going on. And of course, while this goes on, North Korea continues to proliferate its weapons, cooperate with Iran and its nuclear program, perhaps cooperate with Syria. At least it certainly did that in the past, too.
One big happy family. Christian Whiteman with us from out west. Christian, good to see you again. Thank you.